ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Suta Sanhita. There is a part of Suta Sanhita called Mukti Khanda. In Mukti Khanda, there is a dialogue between Shiva and Vishnu. Shiva is the teacher and he is giving Upadesha to Vishnu. He talks about moksha and how to get moksha. As we all know, jnana is the only means for moksha. And how to get jnana? One should approach a guru, and study Vedanta from a guru, do Shravanam, and so on. All these things have been said. Since we discuss this very often, we need not elaborate on these topics again. But then, this text has a special portion that answers many of our questions. Most often I come across this question. Despite listening to Vedanta for a long time, why the knowledge does not bless? I have been listening to Vedanta for so many years, and I somewhat understand also. I understand what is being said, yet I am not able to see the benefit of the knowledge. This question is often asked by many of the people who attend Vedanta sessions. We often give a general answer. It is because one is not ready enough, lacking in chitta shuddhi, and so on. But in this particular section, that is chapter 6 of Mukti Khanda, Ishvara himself is giving a list of reasons that can act as obstacle in the working of jnana. Atha tassam pravakshami jnananutpatti karanam shrunutvam shraddhaya yuktaha pariharaya keshava. Ishvara, Shiva, is addressing Vishnu. He Keshava, O Vishnu, Keshava, I am going to tell you Jnananutpatti Karanam, the reason for Jnana Anutpatti. Why the knowledge does not arise? Why the knowledge does not blossom? Jnana Anutpatti Karanam. I will tell you now. And why it should be understood? Shiva says, Pariharaya, so that it can be avoided. Certain acts, certain thoughts, certain behaviors that might act as impediments to knowledge. If they are understood, then they can be avoided so that the jnana can take place in due course of time. There is a big list, and let us discuss the ones that are relevant to this group. Kamah krodhascha lobhascha moho dambhastathaiva cha alasyamapi matsaryam jnananutpatti karanam. Kamaha, desires. Desires stand for priorities other than moksha. Kamaha, anything that we want to accomplish in this life other than moksha, other than jnana, acts as impediment. Krodhaha, anger or hatred. Krodhaha, lobhaha, greed. Mohaha, delusion. expecting happiness from the material world, thinking of the permanence of material world is a delusion. Dambhaha, dambhaha means a dharmadhvajitvam. It can be understood in two ways. In fact, both are important. The first one is being good, pretending to be good in order to show others. Pretending to be good in order to show others. The Shastra talks about many virtues. These virtues are called dharma. Why should we follow the virtues? To be virtuous. For whose sake should be virtuous? Is it for the sake of others or for our own sake? If we try to be virtuous in order to get validation from others, the others should recognize me to be good. The others should recognize me to be virtuous. With this idea, if one tries to be virtuous, then it remains just a show. He wants to show others that he is good. He is not really good. It is dambha. And it should be avoided by making a resolve to be virtuous for our own sake, irrespective of what others think. Let me follow the dharma for my own sake. Let me follow the values for my own sake. I don't want to be good so that others will recognize me to be good. Whether the others recognize or not, I will do good for my own sake. I will follow the values for my own sake, for my own spiritual well-being. With this attitude, one should get rid of dambha. There is another way of understanding dambha. Boasting about one's good qualities. I might have done some good things and I am boasting about them. I have done this great work. I have given charity and I keep boasting. I did this, I did that. In fact, the Shastra says, Dharmaha ksharati kirtanat. As we boast about our dharma, as we boast about our virtues, the punya diminishes. All the punya that we have acquired through the virtuous deeds diminish. There is a story of Yayati in Mahabharata. Yayati was a great king. He did many good karmas. As a result of the good karmas, he went to Swarga. And in Swarga, because of his virtues, he was welcomed by Indra. And Indra invited him for tea with him. So he was sitting with Indra, and Indra asked Yayati, what have you done that brought you to Swarga? Then Yayati started narrating all the good things that he has done. I did this, I did that. And finally Yayati says, nobody has done so many good things as I have done. Because of such a boasting about his virtues, he lost all his punya in a fraction of a second. Since he lost his punya, he had to go back down like a snake in snake and ladder. He reached 99, then down. Therefore, avoiding dambha means to avoid boasting about one's good qualities. Alasyam, another karana, another cause that prevents jnana is alasyam, laziness. For lazy people, it is difficult to get jnana. They will find some or other reason for not pursuing jnana. If you tell them there is a Vedanta session, they will have some excuse. Today it is slightly cloudy, so I will come next week. Next week there will be another reason, and so on. It is difficult to bring lazy people for Vedanta session. That is why lazy people, being lazy is an obstacle in the pursuit of jnana. Matsaryam, envy, the feeling of envy, the inability to tolerate others' prosperity, others' growth, others' happiness, is envy. Matsaryam jnananutpatti karanam. In this section, jnananutpatti karanam, this word is repeated in every shloka in this whole chapter, almost every shloka, because every shloka gives some jnananutpatti karana. The list is very big. The obstacles in the pursuit of jnana is very long. The list of obstacles in the pursuit of jnana is very long. So that is why this part of Suta Sanhita, according to me, it is a very important section for Vedanta students. Dharma dharmeshwarastitve sandehascha tathaiva cha tesham abhava buddhischa jnananutpatti karanam. Another reason for jnana anutpatti, it is either not believing or doubting the presence of dharma, adharma and Ishvara. Dharma means punya. Certain actions produce an invisible effect called dharma or punya. And adharma, the invisible evil effects. Nowadays, this is very common. People do not believe in the presence of dharma and adharma because we think we are very scientific. Therefore, we look for scientific evidence in order to believe anything. Then there are certain things, there are certain facts that are beyond the domain of science. Since they are beyond the domain of science, you cannot present a scientific evidence. You cannot present a laboratory evidence. To establish the presence of punya and papa. You cannot demonstrate punya and papa in physics laboratory or chemistry laboratory. Why? Because it is beyond the domain of physics or chemistry or biology. Just because we cannot prove their existence in the laboratory does not mean they are unscientific. What is unscientific? If something is contradicted by science, if something is disproved by science, then it is unscientific. But the presence of dharma and adharma cannot be disproved by science. Science does not prove it. In the meantime, science cannot disprove it also, because it is beyond the domain of science. Just like our eyes cannot prove the presence of virus in the air. There is air in the virus. What can prove the presence of the virus? Our eyes cannot prove it, because eyes cannot see the virus. It does not mean the eyes can disprove the presence of the virus also. Why? Because it is beyond the domain of the eyes, beyond the scope of our naked eyesight. Likewise, science cannot prove and science cannot disprove dharma and adharma. Therefore, a truly scientific temperament, if we have a true scientific temperament, we cannot rule out anything until it is disproved by a proper evidence. Until a fact is disproved by a proper evidence, we cannot rule out its presence. Therefore, a true scientific temperament is not to rule out the presence of dharma and adharma, just because science cannot prove it. Instead, we should understand that the science cannot disprove it. It can neither prove it nor it can disprove it. Therefore, it is beyond the domain of science. Therefore, it must be true. There is another pramana called Shastra Pramana. Since the Shastra Pramana says it must be true, this is a proper approach. Dharma, adharma and Ishvara, the presence of Ishvara. Accepting the presence of these three is important in the pursuit of jnana. If one doubts their presence, or if one tries to rule out their presence, then it will be an obstacle in the pursuit of jnana. Matra samrakshana bhavo matradrohascha keshava matra santapakaritvam jnananutpatti karanam. Another jnananutpatti karana. It is in relation to mother. The Shastra says, Matradevo Bhava. Treat your mother like Devata. Matra samrakshana abhavaha. Matra samrakshana, protecting mother, taking care of the mother. It is an important duty of a grihastha. Matra samrakshana abhavaha. If one does not take care of the mother, then it will produce papa and it can block jnana. Matradrohascha keshava. Matradroha, hatred towards mother, fighting with the mother. Matra santapakaritvam, causing pain to mother, keeping mother unhappy, making one's mother sad. All these will bring papa. Thereby, the pursuit of jnana will get disturbed. Veda Vedanta Vidveshaha Tadadhyayana Varjanam Shotriyasya Paradhascha Jnananutpatti Karanam. Veda Vedanta Vidveshaha. Other Jnananutpatti Karanas. Veda Vedanta Vidveshaha. Hatred towards Veda and Vedanta. They are the Shastra. Shastra Vidvesha. Hatred towards the Shastra. Shastra is the pramana, the means, even for jnana. If one hates the very pramana, allergic to the Shastra. Some people are allergic to the Shastra. Anything that sounds like Sanskrit, some people start hating it. If the same idea is presented in English or other language, they will accept it. But if it is presented in Sanskrit, there is a whole group of people who hate anything associated with Sanskrit and Indian culture. Nowadays there is a word in vogue, Hindu phobia. So, Hindu phobia. Veda Vedanta Vidveshaha is an aspect of Hindu phobia. Tadadhyayana Varjanam, and not studying Veda and Vedanta. Indifference to the study of Veda and Vedanta. If one does not study the Vedanta, I will not study. It is not a good way of thinking. Despite all problems, despite all difficulties, one should say, I will study. I will commit myself. I will not give up the effort to study and understand the Shastra. Shrotriyasya aparadhascha, Shrotriyasya aparadhaha. Shrotriya is a person who is well versed in the Shastra. He has studied Veda or he has studied Vedanta. When we find such a person in the society, when we find such a person who has studied the Shastra, we should respect him, honor him, and treat him properly. If one does not respect him, if one tries to cause problem to a Kshotriya, then it will incur papa that might act as impediment in the pursuit of jnana. वेदाङ्गानां च विद्वेषः स्मृतीनां च तथैव च पुराणानां च विद्वेषः भारतस्य तथैव च वेदाङ्गानां च विद्वेषः hatred towards Veda Angas. There are 6 Vedangas: Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Chandaha, Jyotisham. There are 6 Vedangas. Hatred towards Veda Angas, rejecting any Vedanga, also can cause papa. Like Vyakaranam. Vyakaranam is a Vedanga. Some people don't like Vyakarana. I don't like Vyakarana. So it is a Vedanga. Likewise, Jyotisham, Jyotish Shastra, the traditional Jyotish Shastra. Not any fortune telling is not Jyotish Shastra. Jyotish Shastra is a valid discipline of knowledge. Nowadays, some people, especially the Vedanta students, say, I don't believe in Jyotish Shastra. You may not consult an astrologer. You may not consult a Jyotish Shastrajna for everything. But that does not mean one should reject Jyotish Shastra, because it is a Vedanga, and rejecting a Vedanga is not a proper action, not a proper conduct. So, Purana Vedanganam cha vidveshaha Smritinam cha tathaiva cha. And Smriti vidvesha, hatred towards Smritis. There are various Smritis. We have Smriti Granthas like Manusmriti. It is again another problem nowadays. Some people criticize Manusmriti without even knowing what Manusmriti really contains. Smriti Vidvesha. The Smritis are written by Rishis. And if we hate the Smritis, we will incur the papa of rejecting the Rishis. It is a Rishi Vakya. We may not accept everything told in the Smriti. In fact, Suta Sanhita itself says in another part, Shruti, Smriti and Purana, among these 3, how to determine the validity of any statement? Suppose there is a statement in the Smriti, and the statement is not in alignment with the Shruti, then we don't accept the statement as valid. Therefore, everything that is mentioned in the Smriti is not taken literally, but that does not mean we have to reject the Smriti altogether. We adore the Smriti, we respect the Smriti, we study the Smriti. There are so many great ideas, so many noble ideas revealed even in the Smritis, including texts like Manusmriti. Therefore, Smritinān ca tathaiva ca Purāṇānān ca vidveshaha, and hatred towards Purana, even Purana, one should not hate, one should not reject. Even Puranas are Shastra. Even they are composed by rishis. Bharatasya tathaiva ca. Bharatasya means Mahabharata. One should respect Mahabharata also. One should have reverence to all these Shastra, Shruti, Smriti, Purana and Itihasa. तेषाम् अध्येतृद्वे विद्वेषः तेषां बाधश्च केशव तेषामर्थापहारश्च ज्ञानानुत्पत्तिकारणम् तेषाम् अध्येतृद्वेषः, hatred towards the one who is studying the Shruti, Smriti, Purana, etc. If someone is studying Shastra, he hates them. Hatred towards anyone who is studying the Shastra or who is adoring the Shastra. Another aspect of Hindu phobia. So, tesham badhascha keshava, negating the statements of the Shastra. Shastra says something, I disregard the statement of Shastra. I know better than the Shastra. Shastra is written by rishis. I know better than the rishis. If Shastra says something, I will do the opposite. Tesham badhaha. Why it is said? It is stated as jnana anutpatti karana. If someone violates the Shastra, what happens? Violation of the Shastra will create papa and it will obstruct the jnana. Tesham arthapaharascha, misinterpreting the Shastra. sometimes we interpret the Shastra according to our convenience. It is arthapaharaha, taking away their true meaning, distorting their true meaning. Jnananutpatti karanam, even it is jnananutpatti karana. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.